Welcome to at&T Stadium and the YTexas Summit. Again, I'm Henry Ford, Chief Revenue Officer for the Houston Chronicle, and we're here today to welcome you to an exciting summit to talk about the 2026 FIFA World Cup Games. And once again, our panelists include Janis Burke, Chief Executive Officer for the Harris County Houston Sports Authority, Matt Messick, who's the Chief Information Officer for the Dallas Cowboys, and Mauricio Zavala, Director of Tourism for Nuevo León, Mexico. Thank you all for joining us today. We're here to celebrate the impact of bringing the games here to Texas for the 2026 FIFA World Cup Games, and what that means for the major cities that are participating, including Dallas and Houston, and our partner international city, Monterrey, Mexico. We want to also talk about what bringing the games here means economically and from a consumer standpoint for our great region and our great state. I'd like to start with Janis, if you don't mind. Tell us, what does bringing the games to Texas mean for the city of Houston, for the greater Houston area, and what are you all doing to prepare for it?
Yeah, so we actually worked on this for a decade, believe it or not, before we even got into the bid process, because in 1994, when World Cup was in the United States the last time, of course, it wasn't as big of a sport. It wasn't as well known back then in the United States, but we weren't even thought of. We were not at the table. Houston, I know Dallas hosted, our neighbors hosted, but Houston just really wasn't even in the mix. And so as we started down this journey, we knew that the United States was going to bid again, and we wanted to make sure that this time Houston was thought of as this great soccer market. And so, believe it or not, because people don't think that Dallas and Houston work together, but we really did work together, and with our friends in Mexico, as almost selling it as a cluster concept of, hey, you're going to have all of these people coming in from all over the world, and wouldn't it be great that they can get in between Mexico, Houston, Dallas very easily, and we can all help each other. And so we really started this journey quite a while ago, but it means the world to us that we are going to have these matches.
It's a really exciting regional effort that has been put together to involve the two cities, other ancillary cities, as well as our partner city in Mexico. Same question to you, Matt. What does it mean for Dallas, and what are you guys doing to prepare for it?
Well, seeing that, CIO and my whole world revolves around technology. I mean, like our primary, goal is to make sure that this stadium, and all of our partners working with everything, how close we work with at&T is like, we want to have this building the absolute premier facility. We're doing everything we can to win the final, right? So showcasing the technology and the abilities and connecting the fans and being able to connect every single fan that walks into this building, is absolutely critical. So, it means a tremendous amount to us, but it also means this building is gorgeous, right? And we never stop improving, but we still have a lot of work to do to get ready for 26.
That's really exciting. And, again, this, for anyone that hasn't been here, this is an amazing facility for all events, not just the Dallas Cowboys. And it's, the technology here is incredible. And I still hope to see that Jerry Jones hologram at some point. Mauricio, what does it mean for our partner international city in Mexico?
Well, it's a big pleasure being here. First of all, thank you for having me here. And this is very impressive, yes. This is a big stadium, very impressive. For Mexico, for Nuevo León, in being in a World Cup, it's being an honor, and it's going to be a really tough decision to make right now. We are starting to make big decisions in Monterrey. And let me start of giving you some numbers on the flights, direct flights that we have. We are getting to be the new hub of Mexico. We want international flights. We want a lot of international flights on our city, on our state, and we want to be the biggest hub in Mexico right now. The governor is working for that. So right now we're very connected. So what's our primary for us to the World Cup is that we've been connected to the world, the whole world. Right now we have these daily departures for Dallas, for Houston, for San Antonio. We also have a lot of departures international for Madrid, Colombia, Bogotá, Panama, all international cities, and now we went to one category in our flights, so we are going to be able to start with more international flights. So that's our primary thing that we're doing for the World Cup.
That's really exciting, Janis.
Yeah, and let's talk about just the economic impact if you want to talk real numbers. So we've hosted Super Bowls, both of our cities, and really that economic impact is quoted somewhere between 350 million to 500 million, depending what teams and who comes to town. And everybody always asks me, is this really bigger than the Super Bowl? And guess what, guys? It's like 10 times bigger. 350 million is one game over maybe a 5-day span with all of the ancillary events that take place. We're talking 35 days straight of fan festivals every day with thousands of people. And all of our cities getting 5 to 8 matches. We don't know quite yet. FIFA hasn't announced who's getting what, but I mean, that is a huge, huge economic impact.
You're making me nervous.
I don't think a lot of folks realize how mind-boggling the experience is and the number of people that come through for a World Cup game. Speaking of that, Matt, if you want to share with us the technology and the infrastructure here that will improve the fan experience or contribute to the fan experience in 2026.
No, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, especially when you're talking fans, it's connecting your fans, it's connections, and working closely with all of our partners. We want to give every fan, period, of the sporting event, concert, when you walk through the door, you are 100% connected. Well, once you get that connectivity, right, then you can start adding on many different things. One of the newest things that we were working on this past year, last season and this season, is in-seat delivery, and doing it a little bit different than everybody else. Mix of technology, mix a little common sense, and we know for World Cup games that type of that has to be perfect, right? So those are some of the things we've been working on, and also it's just information, getting stats, getting things in the hands of all of these just crazy fans that love the sport, don't want to get out of their seat. So you can go from that whole entire digital experience, right? So there's nothing paper here anymore, paper tickets, concessions. So it's a quick, seamless experience. But we can sit here and we can talk about really cool things like the hologram, right? But at the end of the day, our fans want to park. They want to get in the building as fast as they can. They want to just interact. They want to be here and experience it. And so a lot of times we're not talking about some really wow, cool things. We're just talking about doing everything right and perfect. And then the fan just doesn't even think about it at that point. They're just having a great time.
Your job is very practical as well as the glitzy stuff as well. I just want to probe a little bit in terms of your role and the impact of what you do and how competitive you and your team need to be to make this a great facility, and also to be a competitor and drive competition in the Dallas area.
Well, and I could start with that by kind of going back in time a little bit. I've been with the Cowboys since we opened the building. I actually came on to build all the technology. And so I've been through every major event. So you're talking the Super Bowls and the NBA All-Stars, Final Four and all that. And if we go back to that Super Bowl, it was at 2011, right? Like that, the technology was just an afterthought, right? It was, we have the event, make it work, and then it was, I can, you really are making me nervous about that. I'm already wrapping my head around the World Cup coming to town, but just
you've got this.
Thinking back to the Super Bowl and what that meant for my team and what it took to pull that off, right? But at the end of the day, technology was not even discussed, period. Now, when we've started all of these conversations with FIFA around the World Cup and the bid process going all the way back, we've had a seat at the table the entire time. We feel like nowadays technology is as important as all of the other infrastructures in the city. It is critical because they need to know that they're going to show up and it's going to work. But as you've seen these major World Cup events, you're augmenting the stadium, you're building auxiliary press boxes all over, you're expending your footprint out into the parking lot. Technology is everywhere, fiber is everywhere, connectivity is everywhere. And that's, we play that part, and it's exciting because we were always just not really thought about.
Yeah, and think about it. The fan wants to do that selfie and show everybody they're at a World Cup match, right? And if it's spinning and you don't have that technology in your building, it's a real problem. Also, technology has really transformed the way we keep people safe, right? Our security systems. We've come a long way, probably even since the Super Bowl when you hosted that, of how we get fans in, but we're getting them in and making sure they're going through the Megatrons very quickly.
Nice. I mean, this is a technology, again, from the practical to the impressive. It makes a big difference in the fan experience, like as Matt said, from the time you walk into the building right through ordering your food and beverages and the entire game experience. Mauricio, how does that factor in for Monterey in terms of driving technology to help drive you becoming more international city and player here?
Yeah, let me go back to our industry, our manufacturing right now in Nuevo León. It's our nearshoring is like 70% increasing from other years. So we have a lot of industry of technology right there in Nuevo León. So we are talking with them, and we are taking them to come to our the government to help us to bring our technology to everywhere in the city and in the state, so people can move easily, can have security all the way from the airport to the hotel to the game and then and back again. We have a lot of strategies going on security. Our governor is taking care of it very well. And the technology is important part of that. We are making sure that everyone has on his phone what he's gonna do, where he's gonna eat, where he can spend more time, where can we take them to some eco adventure. We have a lot of mountains there. We have a lot of things going on our magic towns that are nearby. Right now it's raining right there. And we feel very comfortable because we got a problem with water because it wasn't raining anymore. So right now we're taking care of that. So we are we are getting ready for this. In 4 years we have that's not much time for a World Cup, and I'm getting nervous too. But I think we're gonna be ready in all matters.
And I'd like to add one thing is. One of the things that we were doing, partnering and helping, working with Mexico, was a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, we hosted several tech writers from Mexico to just talk about the technology that it takes to pull off these major events and some of the technology gaps in some of those venues. And so the tech writers are just trying to get the people of Mexico excited, and to kind of, like you said, you're bringing big industry to the government to invest, and so it's like getting the people excited to invest, in technology. And then one of the other things that we do, and we do it every year through one of our partners at Cisco, is they bring about 50 CIOs and CISOs up here for the Thanksgiving game. And we host them. We spend, a full day with them just talking about technology and just getting them, excited about different things. And this is how we do things. And it's a very fun experience.
If you invite us over there, we will be there.
Yeah.
To know more about it.
Friends, see, we're making friends on the stage.
Yeah.
I think it's important that all three of our countries own this games together, and that fan experience has to be consistent no matter whether they're in Canada, Mexico, or the United States. And so that's something that FIFA is working with all of our cities very closely to make sure not only the fan engagement, but the fan experience is the same.
Yeah, and I know that just a kind of a postscript to what they were saying, and Houston's a bit of a tech hub itself these days, so I look forward to the city of Houston and the community there leveraging this experience as well to grow their exposure.
We're using technology just to figure out how to keep grass alive in an indoor stadium for 35 days straight, right? We're buying grow lights. There's a whole system being put in place and irrigation with sand. And it's amazing. I've learned more about grass than I've ever wanted to know. But I think, again, that ball has to bounce the same whether you're in an indoor stadium, a northern stadium, or a southern stadium. So all of that goes in behind the scenes in this planning.
Let's change topics for a moment and turn back to the sport, and specifically youth sports. What do we think bringing the World Cup games here will do for youth sports and the sport as a whole? I'll start with Matt.
You talk about the last time, and I've just heard stats and numbers about the last time the World Cup, came to the States and what it did for youth sports. And being, officing primarily out of Frisco and right there where FC Dallas plays and their big training facilities, and just seeing, and having younger kids and seeing that groundswell. And I have younger kids and older kids, so I get it, from the teenagers and the 5-6-year-old. But, I loved it. I loved just the excitement that it brought, from Qatar, from my teenagers, and just the passion that it brought. And so, and I see it with what the Cowboys do with high school football, in Frisco and in Arlington, and with all the playoffs, and just like the close relationships that we have, and just the small impact that we've been able to bring. But you're talking a global event in this area. It's going to take, football or soccer to a completely another level.
I bet. Janis, you have an opinion?
Yeah, it's something we're concentrating a lot on. What is that legacy, especially for growing the sport in our city? In America, even though soccer is the world's sport, right? I mean, in America, we're very used to our American football, but soccer, the football of the world, is accessible to all youth. So I was with our mayor at a trade mission in Africa, and every little patch of dirt or patch of grass, you see kids out there playing soccer. In America, most of our soccer is done in the suburbs, and it's done in a pay-to-play type of fashion. So there's kind of this barrier to entry for a lot of our kids that want to play the sport. And I'll give you an example. We have a pretty famous NFL player, I won't name his name, but he was helping us on the front end of the bid. And he said, you know why I'm helping? He said, I love soccer, and I grew up wanting to play soccer, but my parents said, no, we can't afford that. You're going to pay, or you're going to play a sport that's free, where you get free coaching, you can walk to school to get to your practices. And so he grew up loving it, but couldn't really play the sport. And to this day, still loves soccer. It worked out for him. He made it to the NFL, and again, a great story. But I think it goes to show that not all of our kids, and look, we're in Texas. It's one of the most diverse states. We have all of these expats from around the world, especially in Houston, where we're the energy capital of the world. And we have kids that want to play, but they don't really have access to it. And so we are working hard. Do we have to light up more fields at night? Do we have to provide more fields? What do we do to make sure that every kid that wants to play soccer can?
Mauricio, how do the communities in Monterey leverage youth sports and growing youth sports, soccer particularly among youth, and on both sides of the border?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Let me start with that we are the first fan community in Mexico, in whole Mexico. We have two soccer teams. One is Tigres and the other one is Rayados. They just played on Houston, a classic on Houston, and we have the biggest fan community in Mexico, in Monterrey. So about youth, I can talk to you about some there are Catholic schools, and they gather this Torneo de la Amistad. It's a tournament of the how do you say, the Amistad. So it's a big tournament. So they have like 12,000 athletes on the same time at the same sport. Yeah, and they have like 8,000 athletes just on soccer. So we know about economic growth with the youth sports going on. So we are taking care of that, yes, and we are pretty excited that Mexico, that Nuevo León is getting the World Cup, because, like I said, we are the biggest fans on soccer.
That's amazing, and that's a huge tournament. I think that would make even Matt blush and make him a little more nervous. I'm going to turn our attention for a moment to the business of soccer, and what do we think hosting the World Cup here will mean for the business of soccer? I'll start with Janis.
Well, tourism feeds off of restaurants, airfare, taxi, Uber, Lyft, whatever. All of our entities, hotels that surround these events really feed off of it, and it's huge for the community when you have these big events. So in our city, the Harris County Youth and Sports Authority actually built the stadium. So we are the landlords to our professional sports teams there. And so we monitor this closely because we get a percentage of hotel tax and car rental taxes. And when we have these big events, you can see an uptick for sure. So when you have a mega event like this, everybody, the entire economy, feeds off of it.
Matt, what about in Dallas?
I would say that what I'm already seeing the most is all of the various partners that we work with already engaging us. And so, we work with, some like the large corporations with, Cisco and HPE, home, down in Houston, and, and at&T. And we're working in our communication providers and different things like that. Like we're having so many conversations and getting the community and working with, we've got a couple of huge projects that we're trying to get done just before we get to this point. So the impact just from the technology side is, it's slightly overwhelming because so many people want to be a part of this. And I think that's what's happening here is just everybody wants to participate. Everybody wants to help and pitch in, which is great because these aren't the types of things you do by yourself.
Yeah, the business of sports and the economics of sports, really drives a lot of why we're here today. Mauricio, what does it mean for you for Monterey in terms of the business of sports?
Well, we sure don't have the experience since 1986, the last World Cup on Mexico, and also let me tell you that the stadium wave was built in Monterrey, so on 1986. But we do have experience on international festivals like Pal Norte. Pal Norte is the 9th festival in the world. It hosts a lot of near around 260,000 people last year. So we are prepared. We have a lot, around 16,000 hotel rooms. We have a lot of almost 2,000, almost 3,000 Airbnb places, and we have a lot of infrastructure on this kind of events. So we are pretty much prepared on the economic growth. On this part, we have a lot of restaurants, we have a lot of shopping, we have a lot of things going on in Monterrey. We are a big city, and I think we're prepared, and we are preparing more. Yes.
Nice.
I think there's the small business side of it too that you don't think about, but when it comes to signage or it comes to apparel or all of these things that, yes, FIFA will drive some of that from the top down, but there's also a lot of things that our local community can get involved with, and the small businesses can have business from.
Nice. Well, my final question, a bit of a two-parter, thinking about whether it's the fan experience, whether it's the business of sports, when the games have come and gone, what does it mean for us? Janis?
There's always a halo effect, I like to call it, with these big events, whether it's the legacy we've left for the youth, whether it is the amount of dollars that are left in your community, that are tax dollars that are used to fill potholes in the roads or give you more police officers, all of that comes with these big events. It's a real halo effect. And not only that, it's the pride of hosting these. Our citizens love it. They feel very engaged. They feel very proud that they lived in a city that can host a big event like this.
Matt?
Well, I'll tell you just from my experiences, your first thought is you're absolutely worn out. I can remember personally, I would say that 2 days after the Super Bowl, I think I got sick and I didn't get out of bed for 5 or 6 days. And that kind of sums it up. But the lasting effect, this is another side story, is I was in Plano here in town at a softball game for my daughter. and there was a nice park out front, and I was just killing time between games and these nice trees, and I see a plaque, and it was planted during the Super Bowl that was here in town. And like, it's little things like that they're going to happen, and they're going to have lasting effects. As there was some money was contributed towards a nice park with some ball fields. So I mean, like, it's little things like that, but I mean, just that lasting effect of the pride. I'm still talking about 2011 Super Bowl here, right? And all of the other things that that meant so much to the city of Dallas and Arlington and Fort Worth and this whole North Texas area. So that's what you're going to get.
And that's the kind of stuff that we want to hear about, again, because after the games are come and gone, there still should be the pride, the chatter, the excitement, the enthusiasm, and kind of a lasting legacy of the sport as well. Mauricio, any final thoughts on?
Yeah, for us, it's pretty. It's like a party, you know. It's a big party. We always celebrate every Saturday. We have games on each team that you already told you, Tigres or Rayados. And if I'm Rayado, my son is Tigre, so I support him when his team is playing, and he supports me. So. And we always do barbecue, and we always do family stuff, and we always get together with the sport. You know, we are the biggest fans in the sport in Mexico. So we hope to see this as a party. We hope to see this as a big major party event, family event, and we hope to enjoy it as we enjoy it every weekend in Monterrey.
Outstanding. And Matt, any insight or final thoughts on how the vote's going to sway here?
Oh, we're getting it. What are you kidding? No, yeah, 100%. It's a lock. Write it down.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Any final thoughts from anyone?
Just one final thought. People often ask, how can I get involved? Look, when we hosted Super Bowl, we needed 10,000 volunteers. And they were all professionals. They were, from professional businesses that volunteered, that became a part of it, that helped us put it on and host. I would say, whatever city you're in, volunteer, help your city put it on, because they need that help. It takes a village to do these big events.
Absolutely. And there you have it. So thank you, panelists. And again, we're excited to bring the games here to Texas. And we'll keep you informed what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.